All right, ladies and gentlemen, get up and stay up right here on 2 days after Christmas, the end or middle, I should say, of the holiday season. It is officially get up and stay up time with your three favorite speakers right here on the Be the Change Network. We've, of course, got Terrance, Mr. Unstoppable Leftridge. We've got Jeff Marconette Jr. and me, little old me, Anthony Michael Russo. We are on the page. We are getting started. We're going to let you guys start making your way over, and then we are going to get the conference started. Final one of the year, short and sweet. We'll be wrapping in about an hour. We each are going to be talking for 15, 20 minutes, fielding some questions at the end of this great event. So please do us a favor, hit the like button, share it out. We've got Nicole in the chat box. We've got Brenda. We've got Angry Boats One. What an odd name for a parent to give a child. Sherry Lynn Clark. D-Face from Oklahoma. Keep telling us where you're from, and we're going to get started in about 30 seconds right here with Get Up and Stay Up. Numero, I think 7, lucky number 7. Getting our way on to 2011. So keep sharing it, and we're going to get the party started. Thank you guys for joining us, and please support us by sharing this final motivational video of 2020. Let's get ready to rumble. That was a lot of build-up. I know. What's going on? We've got Terrance Leftridge in the house. Jeff Marconette Jr., the founder of the Get Ups and, well, this the Stay Up Conference, but the Get Up series of 2020. Jeff Marconette is in the house. Jeff, this is the final one of the year. Why did you want to do this final Get Up conference?
Well, I had suggested it during the last event, and people seemed interested, so I said, hey, why not?
Good idea. I like that it's just us three. Cash might join us in the very, very end to give his little pep talk right at the end when we have a little panel between the three of us and maybe four of us. But this is going to be a great opportunity for all of the people you've seen at every one of these Get Up conferences between Terrance, me, and Jeff to give our final words of the year, our final motivation of the year to try to help people progress forward and find where they're going to go in their next phase of life, aka after 2020 or A2, like, after Christ, BC.
Right.
You got it. So Terrance,
2021. You know what? First of all, I'm grateful. I definitely come in today with an attitude of gratitude. When we started this thing back in March, we had no idea where it was going to go. Maybe we thought it was just going to be a one-time thing, a way to get people out of the current depression and the current stress that they were dealing with at the time. But now, not one time later, not 2 times later, not even 3, but 4, 5, 6, 7 times later, we're still here, and we're still providing information. We're still providing motivation. And from what we can see in the comment sections, we're still making a difference in helping people to make every second count. So I'm grateful that what we're doing is not only making a difference for the 3 of us, because each one of you guys inspire me in your own way, but we're making a difference for the people that tune in and watch. So I'm grateful.
Me too. Well, with that, I think we'll probably get started. So I'm going to tell you guys how the run of the show is going to work. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Jeff Marconette Jr. is going to be leading it off, and then we're going to go to moi, and we're going to wrap it with Terrance, and then we're going to do a quick little round table when we're done with this group. And hopefully, again, Cash will be able to join us. Either way, we thank all of you guys for joining us right now. We've got a decent amount of people watching, but what I would love for you guys to do is not just comment, but hit the thumbs up, hit the hearts, etc. As we see some questions, we might remember them to bring those back at the end of the show and have those as discussion points. So
absolutely. And let's make sure that if you've watched one or more of these summits, put a comment in on what takeaways you've gotten from some of the past comments, because we're at the end, we're going to recap. We're going to talk about some of the things that came out of all 7 of these summits. So if something sticks in your mind from the first summit all the way up till today that you want to share with us, put them in the comments, because we scroll through, we'll pull some out, and we'll talk about it. We'll chat it up in the time that we have. And thank you guys who are letting us know where you're seeing us from. North Carolina's in the house, Oklahoma's in the house, Iowa's in the house, Southern Illinois is in the house, Georgia's in the house, Minnesota's in the house. So keep on telling us where you're watching us from, and give us your takeaways as you get this great wrap up summit.
So before we get started, 2 things. I know that Cash has been covering a lot of stuff with Nashville. So if anybody feels the need to not share because of political stuff, this isn't political. This is a fun motivational conference to get you guys pepped up. So this is one of the Cash Lee is in the house. This is one of those ones, it's all about motivation. So if you have fears of any political beliefs getting out there, which I encourage you not to, but in this case, this is all about positivity. This is the way to share that out there. And I think before we get started, since we are all family, we had one of our street lights. Jennifer said salsa. Unfortunately, Jennifer Dean, if you are watching, which I think I saw you comment, yes, I didn't get mine yet. I don't know what happened. So the 2 gentlemen on the screen did get theirs, and we actually are going to have Terrance really quick show his. He's got the salsa right there. She decided it inspired her, so we're going to go ahead and show Terrance's video real quick. Terrance, I'm noticing that screen. Did we lose that screen? I see it.
Let me see.
Looks like you're chatting. Oh, Jeff and Anthony. Yep, go ahead and go. There it is. All right, we'll go ahead and play it. This is a fun little testimonial from Mr. Leftridge.
Yeah, it doesn't want to play.
See what happens? Technology.
Yep, technology is a beautiful thing, right?
All right, maybe we'll play it in between. We'll work on that in between.
Yeah, let me refresh that one and see what happens.
But yes, if you can, Cash is from the Hoosier State. We've got Charleston, South Carolina in the house. Ohio. Cash is about to share it.
Oh, wait.
Delivered. I'll get my salsa on Monday. Love it, Jennifer. Thank you for checking. Love you.
I hope that's a dog in the background, Anthony.
No, I just keep a bell on any of the females that are around me. I would like to know where they are.
I'm afraid. Okay.
All right.
Technical difficulties. It's not.
That's all right. We'll try to save it later. If not, we'll throw it up.
You know what? Maybe I'll remove it from the screen, and then I'll stop sharing and try it again. Let's see.
We're all good. We can find it when Jeff goes. So we're going to go ahead and get started if you're good with that. I know Cash is going to share it. Again, everybody just joining us right now, Jeff is going to go first. I'm going to go second. T is going to go third, and then we're going to have a group page, and it looks like Cash has shared, and there comes the floodgates coming in. Terrance, just as a heads up on this one, I'm going to run this a little bit different. There's an occasional time where I might just pop us up even when Jeff is talking, just to create a little variety. So be ready. Don't pick your nose too much, just to be clear. And if you're
okay, let me get that mistletoe out of my nose.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, Terrance, do you want to introduce Jeff?
Sure, why not? You know what? Let's do some things like we started way back in March. The international Make Every Second Count award-winning speaker himself, Jeff Marconette, came up with the ideal of the Get Up Conference because he was tired of seeing people down. He was tired of seeing people depressed. He was tired of seeing people just not knowing what to do with themselves because of what had taken over us. And he believed, instead of counting the seconds until this was over, that we needed to do something to make every second count. And so he created the Get Up Conference. And 7 conferences later, he has changed lives across the country and across the world with his authenticity, with his down-to-earth way of coming across, and with his genuine love for the people that he's helping. So now he's got a message for you as we close out 2020 strong and move into AD 2021. So let's welcome to the stage none other than the international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker himself, Jeff Marconette Jr.
Woo woo! Hey guys, what's up today?
What's happening?
How are you doing today?
Great.
That's good. I love that hat, Anthony. You should have given me one of those, by the way.
It's got some life to it. It's a little dirty. It's been worn. It's gone through 2020.
Right.
Wow. So,
I'll let you go.
All right, is everybody ready for 2021 though?
Yes.
Oh, more than ready.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. All right. So, as you guys know, I was in a car wreck. Well, if you've seen the first ones of these events, I was in a car wreck. Now, this isn't a car wreck like any other. You see, I was on my way back to high school or to lunch one day from high school when I was sitting at a red light. A semi truck or a friend behind me actually honked at me to tell me to go. And when I pulled forward, a semi truck decided he wasn't going to stop. So he T-boned me in the intersection. I'll show you this again. That was my car, and I was driving, so I was right in here. But so from that accident, I immediately suffered a broken neck, a fractured jaw, 2 broken ribs, a punctured lung, a ruptured spleen. And my worst injury is one that nobody can see. My worst injury was a traumatic brain injury. And that's what makes me talk a little slow, walk a little funky, but that's all right because I'm still here right now. And I was around to experience this character building year of 2020. So I decided that I needed to give you guys steps that you can use to stay up in your life. And those steps are kind of my thing. So, all right. Before my accident, and if somebody could also please put these in the chat or something like that. So before my accident, I had all these abilities. And I'm not talking abilities like sports. I played baseball, I played football, I played soccer. I played 3 leagues a year in soccer, and I rode BMX every day. It didn't matter rain, snow, or extreme heat. I was out there riding my bike. I'm not talking abilities like that though. I'm talking abilities that each and every person has. Abilities that you might not see. Abilities that you probably take for granted. Abilities such as sitting up straight. The ability to walk. The ability of the use of your hands. The use of your feet. The use of your toes. Because you can't really balance without your toes. And it's so true. I had all these abilities and I took them for granted. Now, my first point was take nothing for granted. We all have abilities. Be thankful for each and every one of them. Now, my number 2 is I always wanted all kinds of things in life. Like, all right, I lived in a nice house. My parents were always together. They always treated me well. They always allowed me to play every sport that I wanted to play. They always drove nice cars. They always had good jobs, making good money. But I always wanted them to be making better money. I wanted them to have better jobs. I wanted them to have nicer cars, bigger houses, but I wasn't thankful for what I already had. This is a lot like the first step, take nothing for granted. But the second step is be thankful for each and everything you have, because the things you have are the things that are important. And if you're not thankful for what you have, then how are you ever going to get more? If you put your appreciation out there in the world for the things you have, chances are more of that is going to come back in. And it's really true. It's where your thoughts go that your energy flows. So, or where energy flows. So when you think about what you're thankful for, then the energy will come to that stuff and make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it will just start expanding. So number 2 is be thankful for each and everything you have. Now number 3 is life is a precious, precious, precious gift. Look, I had a person in my car with me when I had my accident. Now, he broke his little finger, and I had all those injuries, and he was always extremely guilty about that. I didn't understand why. And he always blamed himself for not getting hurt worse. And I really don't think he needed to. But you see, a year and a half after high school graduation, so about 3 years after the accident with me, he was in another accident. He was coming home from a mission trip in Yellowstone Park, and his friend fell asleep while driving. This time, though, he didn't make it. He died right there. And this kid was smart. This kid was going to change the world. He was going to a very prestigious university in Case Western University in Cleveland, Ohio. He was studying biomedical engineering because he wanted to help other people out. And in fact, he wanted to work on making artificial organs and artificial skin. This kid was seriously going to change the world. And his life was cut short. And it just shows that life is precious. And a lot of people take it for granted. So remember that life is a precious, precious gift. And if you treasure each and every moment of that life, your life is going to be so much better. Now, number 4 is never, ever, ever, ever give up on yourself. Now, when I say that, I mean it seriously. Never give up. Look, if I had given up when I was in the hospital bed, just coming out of a coma, nobody would have blamed me. But I would still be in the hospital bed. I would probably be in a nursing home somewhere, rolled down to the floor and watch Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy with the older people, the elderly people. I can't say old because that's not fair. But if I had given up when I was walking or riding in a wheelchair, I would still be in a wheelchair. If I had given up when I was walking with a walker, I would still be walking with a walker. If I had given up when I was walking with a cane, I would still be walking with a freaking cane. And instead, that cane is hanging in my game room right now on nails on the wall because I don't need it anymore. Now, I am walking completely unassisted now. And it's a phenomenal thing, and I love it. And I'm going to continue to push myself because I want to run. And damn it, I am going to run. Nobody is going to stand in my way. And I know that if I never, ever, ever, ever give up on myself, that nobody can stop me. Now, my fifth and final point is I learned that I could make every second count. And if I could make every second count, then so can everyone else. Look, there's nothing that I do that other people can't do. And in fact, I will teach you how to do these things. I will show you the steps to take. I will create a book, which I have in the Make Every Second Count, a 1,500-hour journal. And it shows you exactly how to make every second count. And it's so important that there's 86,400 seconds in a day. That's a lot of seconds. And I'm not telling you that it's not a lot of seconds. And you don't have to make each and every one of them count, but you do have to make your day count. And your day is made up of those 86,400 seconds. And how can you do that? By getting my book for $15 or $16 on Amazon. By journaling for a week or 9 weeks in my journal. By learning how to do things to make every second count. By doing a gratitude journal. By writing down the things that you have to be grateful for. Because when you do that, you're expressing your gratitude out to the universe, and then you will be able to attract more. By focusing on the things that matter. By focusing on what you have instead of what you don't have. So, do these 5 steps for me. And I have a gift for you. So, you can actually download the first 7 days of my journal for free at my website. Now, it is www.jeffmarconettajr.com, which is JEFF. Marconette is MARCONETTE. Junior is JR.com. And it is on the bottom of the screen. Thank you, Anthony. If you go to that and then go to the tab entitled Journal and then enter a few things, you can download it right there for free. And you will get a PDF form. And it's amazing. So check that out. Do yourself that favor, because in 2021, we're going to thrive. Not just survive like we did in 2020. But in 2021, we're going to thrive. We're going up. And we're going to stay up. We're not getting down any longer. So guys, from me and from 2020, I'm Jeff Marconette Jr., the award-winning international Make Every Second Count speaker, reminding you that you can make each and every second count. Why? Because you never know when your seconds are going to run out on your one life.
Jeff Marconette Jr. Woo, woo. He brought the heat today. Definitely. I love how you continue to tell your story, because there's always someone new that needs to hear your story. And I love how you tell it over and over again, and how we see in the comments how your story is resonating with people, and how you're adding the layers onto your story. You're talking not only about how it affected you and what you were able to overcome, but you also talked about the other people that was part of your original story that made it through, but then continued to have trials and tribulations as they go through. And I think that is resonant of what we've had to deal with in 2020. Even though you may have dealt with something in March and you overcame it, didn't mean something else wasn't coming around in April or coming around in July. There are people who are watching this broadcast that have dealt with multiple things during the course of 2020. And that's not even talking about COVID. We focused on COVID, but life was still going on for people who weren't affected by COVID directly, that they still had to overcome. And for you to give that uplifting message about never giving up, giving that message about recognizing that the life you have, whether you have the struggles or not, is precious. Letting people know that you've got to be thankful for what you have as opposed to focusing on what you don't have. And then finally letting them know that they need to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds of your one life will run out. Great message, very timely message for the end of the year. I know it's going to help some people finish strong, moving out of 2020 into 2021. What do you think, Anthony?
That was phenomenal. Jeff, I've known you for over a year. We've spoken a bunch together, and you continue to improve, and B, surprise me with new elements to the story that I did not know. And you're beyond a gifted speaker. You're impactful. And if people don't feel motivated after hearing you talk, then they're not listening. So fantastic job, Jeff. And I'm thankful, and I have gratitude to in this very difficult year to just have you in my life. So thank you, Jeff. Great job.
Thank you. I feel the same about each and every person out there, but especially you, Anthony, Michael, Russo, and you, Terrance, the unstoppable coach, Leftridge.
Yeah, we all got three names. That's a beautiful thing. I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, let's pop up some of the comments, because we're definitely, we want to see what people were thinking about Jeff in real time. If you could pop up, Marilyn Cricket Whipple said, Jeff, keep doing what you're doing. You are touching so many people's lives. Throw up another one, whichever one you pull, Anthony.
Belinda.
Our journey is all different. We all have many key players that make a huge impact on our lives. Some are for a season, but all are there for a reason. They are the biggest support team that gets us through anything. And we are so thankful that you guys are allowing us to be your support system over this year. I mean, teamwork makes the dream work. You probably heard that over and over again. And as Jeff is saying, changes come together. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring everybody together to be the change that we're all looking to see in our lives. We're all looking for a change as we move out of this, because we know, 2020 was more than a notion. So we definitely are looking for different as we move back into 2021. And we're glad that we're able to do our little part to help. Kim Bauer is saying, oh, what a world this would be if people would really listen to this man, what this man has to say. And that man is the international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker, Jeff Marconette Jr. Thank you, Jeff.
Great job, buddy. Appreciate you.
But hey, we're not done, because you know this trio of great inspirational, transformational, and motivational speakers is just getting started. You heard from the man, the myth, the legend himself, but now we want you to hear from the super producer, the man behind the scenes that keep all of these summits going smooth and without a hitch. But he also comes in front of the camera and gives you inspiration. He gives you things to think about. He may make you angry. He may make you sad. But in all of that, he's going to make you happy that you heard what he had to say.
Hey.
He's not only a... Yes, go ahead, Jeff.
May I add that I first met Anthony down in Atlanta, Georgia, when we spoke at the Unleash Your Greatness event put together by Dr. Obama Bowen.
Right.
Now, I was immediately drawn to Anthony. I don't know why. I'm not going to say he's good looking, but
you can tell the truth, Jeff.
I was immediately drawn to him. And I wanted to get to know this guy because this guy did the things I wanted to do. And this guy had so much knowledge in his head that I wanted to pick his brain. And it's funny now because Anthony and I have actually become good friends. Now, we might not agree on most things, but we're still friends. And I still reach out to him all the time. And that's just what I wanted to add.
And that's a great point. I mean, that's the true nature of friendship. You know, you don't be friends with people because you're looking for a yes man in your corner. You're friends with people because they are people that you can be real. You can be your real, authentic self with, and they can be the same with you. And I suspect that's what drew you two together, because that's what draws me to Anthony. You know, no matter whether I agree or disagree with what he has to say, he's always authentic, and I always know what I'm going to get. And in a time of chaos, you want to be able to count and depend on that authenticity. You don't want to have to guess what you're going to get from person, especially if you're in need of something from that person. And people who are watching us, they're in need. They're not watching us because they have nothing else to do on Sunday afternoons. They don't keep coming back because because what we did the first time was so good, they just wanted to see it again the second time. They keep coming back because we're authentic. They keep coming back because we're real. And they keep coming back because we are providing them with something that they need to help them get to the next level. And that's what our friend, our next speaker, Anthony Michael Russo does. He's more than just a super producer. He's more than just a nationally acclaimed MC. He is the founder and the spark plug for the BetheChange USA network. And he's going to come to you with his thoughts on the Get Up 20 Summit that's happened throughout this year and what you need to do to finish strong in 2020 and to continue to work on being the change you hope to see in your lives and the lives of others. So without further ado, let's bring on the man, the myth, the good-looking guy of the trio, Mr. Anthony Michael Russo.
Special effect. Did you see that? I rose up from the ground. It was pretty good.
You look like a phoenix.
Caw. All right. First off, while you guys are still here, again, thank you both. Jeff, that meant a lot to me. I appreciate you. We were clearly drawn to each other at the first conference. Your energy is something that no matter if it's 2020 or the best year in history, is something that's going to get you through some of the toughest of times. And no, we do not always agree. And that's the perfection in this group. And that's part of what I'm going to talk about as well, is how important it is to remember our differences and remember friendship and kindness moving forward. So I'll go ahead and get started. Thank you guys both. Thank you for the intro. Let's get the party started. What do you say?
All right, let's take it away.
Real quick, I want to say to everybody out there watching, please put in some questions, because we want to we want to have more of a conversation. We don't really want to make a presentation. So ask questions.
Yeah.
And we'd be happy to answer them. I promise you that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and keep my eye on the comment box, and then at the end, once Terrance goes, we're gonna do a whole round table. So you might have to repeat your questions at the end. Either way, have some questions ready, and we're gonna do a quick round table to wrap up all of this speaking. So great point, Jeff. So keep your questions ready, or even say it. So
yeah, and hopefully this won't throw you off your game. But Jeanette Nolan Dickerson says Russo's yumminess grows on you. I'm gonna post that. There's gonna be a meme by the end of the day about that.
It's gonna look like this. All right, thank you guys.
Take it away,
you hams. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about 2020, the year that was. So first off, moving from what Jeff said, which Jeff's presentation there, it was incredibly hard to follow because it was phenomenal motivation for where we need to look moving on to 2021 and the year that is. And there's a lot of silver linings we're going to have to find. And that's more what I'm going to talk about in this, is making sure that we see the positives and see the lessons so we can progress forward. And what's great about the year of 2020 is that we have actually made it this far. We're here. I will go back to the beginning of COVID, and actually even the beginning of Be the Change. I mean, Be the Change is 4 years old, but really the way that we all see it and the way that we have all these people in the comment box, it's not really 4 years old. It's really started at the beginning of COVID. This is all a COVID relation. So in the beginning, I came on my LinkedIn, I came on my personal Facebook, and I made a video about once every 3 days, talking about staying positive, staying up, staying kind to each other. And admittedly, I didn't know how long this would last. No ideas. And people were thanking me for my positivity. And then all of a sudden, 1 week became a month, and a month became 2 months. And then George Floyd happened. And then all of a sudden, the world has drastically changed, and there's no way to see past that. And internally, shit, it got hard. This year got hard. It got hard for a lot of people. And some of the things that always brought me back to center was actually doing these events with Jeff and Terrance and all the people that came in, and the craziness of how I met Cash and how we have grown this network. But we became isolated. And as human beings, there's just something is just missing when you look over Zoom, period. And the greatest gift that we can technically give somebody that's free, that you don't need money for, is a smile. And in a weird way, that's even been taken from us, having to wear masks. And it's created separation, and it's created negative impressions on the brain, and it's tough. And I'm not going to get political besides this one point, but when the cure becomes more dangerous than the disease to you internally, you have to start making decisions that work for you. That's the last thing I'm going to say on that. I'm going to leave it at that, because it becomes your choice on how you want to interact with the people around you and yourself. But at the same time, if your own health is so bad and mental health is so bad, do what feels right. Now, with that said, today is a great example. I like to use stories that happened 24 hours ago, 10 hours ago, 3 years ago, who knows? But I was by a hayfield that caught fire. And it burnt acres and acres and acres of land. And I drove by the field, and I talked to some people that were around there. And I learned something, because I was like, oh no, how much crop did they lose, or whatever it might be. And it's just a hayfield. And the interesting thing about a hayfield is when a field burns, it actually grows back stronger. Right now, the hay isn't usable anyways, but apparently a burnt field is actually a higher quality the next year. So I want you to change your perspective on what 2020 did to us. Look at yourself as a hayfield. I know that sounds weird, but it's the old saying goes, from the ashes we rise up greater, more powerful, more wise, and more ready. Do not make this year a waste. There's so many silver linings. There really is. If you look into it, it's going to be hard to see. They're really, really hard to see, but they're everywhere. We may not even know yet. Jeff, this whole thing, as I was trying to say before, this whole thing with creating Be the Change we use StreamYard for our videos. Jeff had me on a show right before COVID started, saying, hey, jump on. He showed me the StreamYard thing, and I was on his show, and Next thing I know, I'm like, oh, we could do this for Be the Change. I can do this for other networks. And that's literally without Jeff there. Without Jeff doing a show, showing me StreamYard, we might not be exactly where we are. Could have taken a different direction. So there's a lot of silver linings. There's a lot of positives. And as I like to say, don't make this year a waste. They're hard to see, but they're out there. Please remember they are out there. COVID might have ended some relationships, some friendships, some boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, etc. But this is probably to make room for the ones that are supposed to be in your life, the friends you're supposed to have. Maybe COVID ended a job you no longer wanted, but you felt like you needed that job, you needed that comfort, but you were forced out of it. Now you get to move more closer, you get to move forward to your true you. And as you hear Jeff speak about, you only get one life, make every second count. This year was hard, no doubt about it. And personally, I'll get personal on this one. I've talked about some of the things with my mom in the past, but I'm going to talk personally about me. First off, thank you to everybody that have been a part of this journey with Be the Change. But this was a hard year for me. I'll be flat out with you. I'm an extrovert. I live off the energy of people in person, and this year took that completely away from me. I travel 80% of the time, and now I'm traveling once every few months. This year took away my livelihood financially, took away my financial stability, but it brought me this immense opportunity to create change. I can choose to seize it, or I can choose to watch it be a complete waste. I would tell you, when I created Be the Change in 2016, and I had the idea, and for those of you who don't know, it was the police shooting in Dallas, and I just saw that there was this void. There was a gap between people that were trying to create awareness and people that were taking action. I just couldn't keep it inside anymore. And I had a very successful business, but there was something more. There was something I felt as though I could do more. And I didn't know what that was. I tried to get the trademark. I started working on that. It took 3 years to do, but I did not know the purpose of Be the Change until this year. And I also didn't have the time. I kept saying I'll do it as a side, I'll work on it on the side, even though to me that was my passion. I loved the company that I owned, but my passion was the fact that I wanted to create impact. I wanted to create a legacy. I wanted to be able to have my kids say in 50 years, that was my father, that was my dad, that was my grandfather, and he changed the world at a very difficult time, no less. I mean, that's what we're seeing out of 2020. So it took a lot away from me, but it's given me time to focus on this. It gave me the opportunity to meet somebody like Cash. I don't know if you know the background of that, but I don't know if we've actually talked about it much with this audience. So I'm going to tell you guys. So this is what happened. So you've got Aaron and Curtis that you've seen on some of our shows, two black guys, and it's with it being 2020 and right after George Floyd, we go, we need to have a conversation. Let's have a chat, and let's have it honest, raw, and let's go on the platform that I'd started with, Truth Will Set You Free. Let's have a talk. And we got on there. We brought on a couple of guests to talk about the uncomfortable discussions. And we had about 50 live viewers at once, which ironically enough, we're even over that right now. So we had about 50 live viewers, and we were so jacked up about that. And we also realized that not only were we excited that people actually wanted to listen, we put out a great product. It was fantastic. And I said, we need more of that. A friend of mine, Caroline, sends me a video of Cash speaking. He was doing his initial one that went super viral. He had about 4 million views at the time. And in it, I said, I need to connect with this guy. The chances are slim. I know we always see people like, who would be great for Be the Change? Who would be the right fit? And I sent a Facebook message to Cash Lee Kelly. The reason why he picked up that message was because I have the same last name as a good friend of his from juvie 15 years before that he'd been trying to get a hold of. So for some odd reason, in all the hustle and bustle of that beginning time, he decided to reach back out to me. We set up a phone call. He was on my show 2 days later. We had 1,100 live viewers at once. Everything changed in the element of what do we do from now? And then, of course, I became very close with Cash, got to know his family, his kids, etc. And it's completely changed my life. Hopefully, I've changed his life. And then on top of it, most importantly, we've changed all of the people's lives that are commenting in the box right now that see our shows. None of that would have happened without the negativity that came from this year. because we rose from the ashes. We found a way to make lemonade out of lemons. So for some of you guys that have actually heard my personal motivational speaking topics, I speak on failure and the power of failure. And the core concept of that is to use the mistakes, use the negativity, use the shit, use the crap that's thrown at us to make us stronger and create the progress to who we're supposed to be. Most people don't get the opportunity to take a house they don't like and just burn it down and build it back up because it sounds ridiculous. It sounds stupid. It's not smart. No one chooses to do that. But when they do, they're either left in the ruins or they rebuild. This year, we were forced to rebuild. And by the way, I'm seeing some of the comments as they go in the box. And I thank you for some of those. That's awesome. And Jeanette, I see that. Thank you for including me in your blessings of 2020. So thank you for that. So to whoever's watching this specifically, I know we've got a lot of people that pay attention to politics. So with that, whatever political side you're on, whatever background, whatever creed, color, gender, I'm going to tell you the only way to get up and stay up, which is the point of this conference, is to help each other. We have to drop the political bullshit. And I don't mean to stop discussing it, because I think it's important to continue the conversation, to continue to learn from each other, to continue to stay on platforms that may not want you to be on there. I think it's important to make sure that we stay out of our personal echo chambers. Continue to talk to people that are different. But when we talk to people that are different, and I mean this for both sides, we need to stop hating each other over a difference in opinions. And we also can't take things personally when people correct us. We all have different upbringings. We have different education. We have different conversations. We are all different, and we all have different things that have led us to where we are in our opinions. Those can change over time. Those can improve. They can get worse. There's elements of everyday life that's going to change. It is very human to debate. Now, it's hateful to judge and belittle. And in order for us to stay up and to continue on to 2020, we have to be together. If we as a country and a race are going to survive this as a group, and not just survive, but thrive, we have to stay united. We have to stay together. So as a message on how to rebuild, again, this is on my typical topics of failure, take risks. This is your chance to try something new. Hard times create ingenuity in the human spirit. If there is something you want to try it. If this year only teaches you one thing, it should be that life is short, far too short. Follow your passions. Trust me, for example, even after all this crap, you're still going to be in the minority if you follow your passions and if you take risks. Say, what if everybody wanted to work for themselves? What if everybody wanted to start their own business? What if everybody wanted to do this? Guess what? They're not going to. You can. The universe rewards those that put themselves out there and risk. I am forced to rebuild this year. I did with it what I could. And I'm going to continue to build on that. And there's even times when people close to me go, are you sure about this? Because it's been hard. I mean, the amount of time spent and the amount of, I'll call it blood, sweat, and tears, and also the frustration of seeing me lose people in my life and having to continuously practice what I preach and realize there's a purpose and that there's greater things coming. There's getting to be a part of people's lives like Jeff Marconette Jr. and like Terrance, and continuing these conferences, and then to actually build off that and be able to speak to large amounts of people with cash, whether it's political or whether it's motivational or whatever it might be. The impact and the opportunity is there. I could choose to sulk. You could choose to sulk. It's not going to do anything. Look at Jeff. He talked about it. He phrased it perfectly. If he wanted to sulk, he could have ended up in a nursing care facility, watching Wheel of Fortune, watching Pat Sajak never age, which is super weird to me, by the way. But he chose not to. So leading into 2021, this is where you make your choice. This is where you choose if you want to thrive or if you want to take the beating that 2020 might have handed you and not move on from it. So as Terrance said, I sometimes I can make you mad, I can make you sad, I can make you upset, but ultimately, I hope I'm going to make you happy by letting you know that you can follow the dreams that you want to follow my message, of rebuilding, of rebirth, of rising from these ashes. And this Get Up 7 conference is the 7th one of these. And each time it's kind of like, are we still doing, are we still in 2020? Are we still in COVID? We're still here. And we might still be here for a while. But the one thing that we have to remember is that we have each other. I heard my mom speaking first to me and then to another group of people. And she was talking about how tough this has become on her and how she feels like the world is falling apart and she's never seen people hate each other so much and how difficult that is. And I feel that. I feel the exact same thing on a daily basis. I wake up and part of what drives me to continue, because this is definitely not the easy road that I'm taking. What drives me is realizing that there needs to be voices to get us to stay up. There needs to be voices that keeps us together and keeps us molded as one. And she even talked about, like, do I recall back my therapist? Do I call back my counselor? What do I do? And I don't even know if this is the right time or point, et cetera, because even your counselors don't necessarily agree with you anymore. And people think you're crazy. So what do we have? We ultimately have each other. Talk to other people. If you've got a good counselor, great, talk to them. If you got a great therapist, great, talk to them. What we ultimately have and what we've seen in the Be the Change group is people become friends. People have become friends and that's silver lining. There's groups of people that I see that have become friends along the way, and that's amazing. Gina, also thank you for the donation. We've managed to get through this year not by way of our government helping us, not by way of any superpower. We've gotten through this year with each other. So that's the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is ultimately, I just want to remind you that part of staying up is utilizing each other. If you're there for somebody else, the greatest fuel you can feed yourself is by being positive to others. Seeing a reaction, seeing a positive reaction. That's why people love Christmas so much, I'm pretty sure. I don't think people love Christmas because they receive gifts. I think it's the joy that gets brought when people see other people open the gifts. I think the gifts that come to us are temporary and they're fun and that's great. But seeing the impact we can have with a gift, that's where the true change comes in ourselves. So hopefully I leave you with that gift. I'm looking at a lot of the comments come through, and I thank you for that. And I know that Terrance probably knows a couple that he'll bring up. But with that, all I can say is be the change you wish to see in the world. Stay positive, stay hungry, and ultimately remember that we're all stronger together than we are apart. Thank you, guys. And it's time to get up and be the change. And we're stronger together. There you
go. Wow. Heartfelt message from Anthony Michael Russo, helping you to be the change and to get up and to stand up here in 2020. Great message, Anthony. It was. I think you should stand up more because you really spoke from the heart. I really felt it. You adding to your story, also letting us know more about you. I've only known you online, haven't really met you in person, but feel like our relationship has grown over the course of this year and over the course of these 7 conferences as well. And as we look through the comments, we can see that you have this ability to make an impact on people that have never met you from far, far away. And that is a true testament to your authenticity and to the fact that you're walking in your purpose. Many people would think Be the Change is just a slogan that you put on a button, but it's a message and a mission that you live each and every day. So thank you for that. And thank you for encouraging us to continue to get up and stand up and go be the change that we all need to see in our lives. And thanks for sharing that $10 with us. We can all, get a cheap beer.
That's great. That's the first beer is on me by far, maybe even the first 10. And Michelle, thank you for that question. We'll take that at the end, right after Terrance goes as well. Let's see.
Jeff, you're muted for some reason.
Oh yeah, Jeff shouldn't be. There we go, Jeff. What's up?
All right, I tried to buy you a beer, Anthony, and Atlanta. Remember that night and you said, sorry, I already left the hotel.
I did. I remember, and I don't usually go to these places, but I was at Hooters. I was enjoying some chicken wings, but you got me when I was already gone. I had already left the hotel. So, Jeff, before we go to Terrance, what's funny is you were saying hi to Mama. Turns out there is another Phyllis Russo. This is a Phyllis Russo in West Virginia. It is not Mama Russo. Well, it's not the Mama Russo. It's a different Mama Russo.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Phyllis, but I love you too.
It all counts. It's all love.
Well, let's go ahead and go to our final speaker. Terrance, you feeling ready to kick the tires, light the fires?
I'm feeling ready, and I guess Gina inspired me to try to see if we could pull up Jennifer's video again, but we can wait till after the end in case we have another technical difficulty.
No,
but that just speaks to the difference that Anthony, you're making in the lives of people in this feed, and Jeff, the difference that you're making into the people in the lives of these feed. You're making such a difference that people who would normally be introverted and maybe just be voyeurs and look and never comment, they're not only commenting with their messages, but they're commenting with their money of the value that you are bringing to them. And I just want to thank you both for being who you are and being willing to step out, especially in a time where a lot of people have sat back, and you've stepped out, and you're really making a difference in the lives of the people that are viewing us. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Because
go ahead and try to bring that up one more time, and then if it doesn't work now, we'll do it again later. Go for it.
Okay.
That's my line. No, Jeff, that's a no. That's a hard pass. All right, let's see if this works. Let's give it a shot. Still doing the
Still doing that thing. Still doing the clicky clack.
Well, worst case, we'll share it. So, you know what? Before I have Jeff leave the screen, let's just go ahead. Since mine's coming on Monday, Terrance, Jeff first. What did you think of the salsa?
Well, all right. I don't eat spiciness at all. It's not my thing, and I got the mild one, and I was very pleasantly surprised. All right. It's called Get Wrecked Salsa, and it's kind of a funny name, but it's easy to remember. And it was actually kind of spicy, and I didn't mind. I ate it anyways because it was good. It tasted fresh, and I'm sick and tired of all this stuff that doesn't taste like it's fresh. And I really appreciate Jennifer, and I appreciate her sending it to us. And I love her, and I wish her the best of luck in her endeavors in 2021 and 2022, 23.
Forever.
Just forever.
To infinity and beyond.
So thank you, Jennifer. And she said that her grandson came up with the name Get Wrecked Salsa.
I think it's a party. I like it.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I sent her the video, so the most important person did see the video, and that's Jennifer. But I love this Get Wrecked salsa. As you can see, I'm already halfway through it, and I got my chips and my salsa. I love me a spicy salsa, and even though I had her send me the mild, it had a kick to it as well. And you know, I've been getting wrecked ever since she sent it to me. So what I love about it, not even the fact that she made it and that she sent it to us. What I love is her story behind it, because she'd been thinking about this for a while. And like a lot of people pre-COVID, we were in thinking modes. We were thinking, okay, I got this, or I want to do that, or I want to be this, or I want to have that. And for whatever reason, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in my presentation, that inner critic was telling us, you can't do that. or you won't be accepted for that, or you don't have time for that. And it's only because she saw us in one of our summits talk about getting up and not just sitting back, talk about make the seconds count, not just watch the seconds go by, that she was inspired. In her own words, she was inspired to not only start working on this, but to finally finish it and send it out. Now, Jeff has done 7 of these, you guys. And as speakers, when we speak, we get anywhere from hundreds to thousands of dollars to speak. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that is 7. Okay, 7. So Jeff has given you between $700 and at least $7,000 worth of his time and his value over this past year, and you haven't spent a dime. But what you have gotten is you've gotten some inspiration. You've gotten some motivation. And in Jennifer's case, she's gotten wrecked on the inside so that she can work out her purpose on the outside, so that somebody like me who loves a good salsa can benefit from her gift. That could be my message, and I could just drop the mic right then and there, because that is the value of what we love to do as speakers. And that is the payment that is worth far more than the $7,000. Now, Jeff probably still wants a $7,000 check, but
I wouldn't complain about that. And I wouldn't complain if people went to my website and purchased my book either.
Absolutely.
This was done from my heart, because I wanted to do it, and it was something that was on my soul, and I knew that I could help people out in ways that I couldn't imagine, and I had an idea and I went for it. And 7 later, it's working.
Yep. You got up and you stood up. So thank you, Jennifer, for your testimony. And thank you for showing us that what can happen when we use our gift to help you use your gift. And now your gift is going to be a gift to people around the world. We declare and we decree it right here on this show. They say the number 7 is the number of completion, and you have completed your task, Jennifer. Now get ready for number 8, because what's number 8? New beginnings. And you are about to embark on some new beginnings. And we're just grateful that we could be part of your journey in helping the rest of the world get wrecked with your salsa.
Love it. All right. Well, we're going to get started with our final speaker, and I can't wait to get this salsa. I got the spicy stuff because I'm not a pansy like those two.
I'm not a pansy. My wife.
Okay. Now we got to blame it on the
Yeah.
All right. So our next speaker now, Jeff, you got anything to say about Terrance before I get into my Michael Buffer area?
I mean, the first time I met Terrance, it was in Stone Mountain, Georgia. So Atlanta, Georgia, the same way as you, but it was at a different event. It was at a Black Belt Speaker Live training, which you guys all should check out because they're amazing events. But he was weird. And I was not attracted to him at all. He always said this weird thing like, hey, don't make it a great day. Make it an unstoppable day. And I was like, no, and walked away. And then it started to grow on me. It started to penetrate my heart. And I realized what he meant by it when I heard his story. And then I started just like to embrace it, and he became a bigger part of my life, and he actually became my coach for a while, and it was just awesome. And I give him credit, because without him, I probably wouldn't have started this event, because I knew I needed an MC, and I didn't want you to do that. I wanted you to speak at the events, and you were set up to produce the events. But I knew I needed an MC, and the first person that came to mind was, why not make it an unstoppable event?
100%.
So there you go.
Well, that was a great intro. So I really don't. You kind of did it for me. So thanks, Jeff. Because our final speaker of this, you've seen him before. He has always given you guys, first off, motivation to live by, as well as guided the conversation, which is the key. You can have a whole bunch of messages, but without the glue that brings it all together, it's all just a bunch of shouting from all different angles. And Terrance has a phenomenal ability to bring great speakers together and bring their messages together so that it resonates with the audience. He also is incredibly exuberant in everything that he does. He is 100% personality. He has made some videos that have had an impact on my life, like the ripple effect video he did on a random Wednesday morning. The words that come out of Terrance's mouth can be magical, and I hope that you guys take it as so. And I could not be more thankful for getting to know the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Unstoppable himself in this really weird year that is 2020. So if there's one way that I would like to be taken out of 2020, it's going to be with a message from the man, the Mr. Unstoppable man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Terrance Leftridge.
Woo! Thank you, Anthony, and thank you, Mr. Weird himself, Jeff. You know, weird knows weird, so there you go. I appreciate you guys for that. And hey, I appreciate every one of you guys who are watching us right now on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. And I say beautiful, even though I don't know where you may be. You're watching us from Iowa, you're watching us from Georgia, you're watching us from Charlotte, you're watching us from parts far and beyond. I even saw Connecticut in the feed. So I hope it's a beautiful day where you are. But trust me, if you're here and if you're watching me and if you're seeing me, then I think it's a beautiful day, even if you don't. You see, because there was a Sunday afternoon kind of like this in my life 3 years ago, 2017, that started off as a beautiful day, but before it ended, it became a life-changing day. You see, on that Sunday afternoon, I was about to leave my house and I was going to go do some random errands, like you normally do on Sunday. And I got in my car and, I was checking the mirrors and putting the GPS on. And my neighbor came home. He came down the block and he parked across the street. And I saw my neighbor and I was about to wave at my neighbor, but for some reason he had to bend down to find something in his car. And just at that moment, another truck came whizzing between my car and his car. And this is what I heard next. Pop, 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 pop. And after the shock and awe of hearing those 9 gunshots, the truck sped away, screeched his tires, turned the corner, and he was gone in less than seconds. But my neighbor, all of a sudden, my neighbor's car door opens over and he falls out into the middle of the street. 9 bullet holes in his car, 2 in his body. And I thought in that instance, I was in the middle of a Hollywood movie, because things like that never happened on my block, and things like that never happened in my life. You see, up to that point, I had never had a near-death experience, an NDE. But right at that moment, it was fully in my face. And I sat there shocked for a second because I didn't know what to do. Should I get out the car? Should I go help? Should I run into the house? Should I just hide under the seat. Is he coming back? What's going to happen next? And as I got out the car, I made the decision to go check on him. And that's when I found out he had the 2 bullets in his body, and he would die right there on the scene. Now, that's something I keep seeing in my mind. It's something that I don't want anyone else to ever have to experience. And on the one side of my mind, I'm thankful that it wasn't me. Because you see, here's how it played out in the rest of my mind. In the rest of my mind, if he hadn't bent down in his car, he probably would have got out his car. And see, I was parked on the other side of the street, and so was his house. So in order for him to get to his house, he would have to cross the street and cross my car. And that truck that was intended for him would have then been in my crosshairs. Instead of the bullets going that way, the bullets would have came my way. And I heard you say, pop, 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 pop. 9 random bullets could have found one Terrance, and then Terrance would not be here to talk to you today. And for the rest of the day and for the rest of the week, I pondered that. What if? And I pondered, why am I still here? That could have been me laid in the middle of the street with bullets in my body, but I'm still here. That could have been me that no longer had life, but I'm still here. That could have been me that no longer was a husband to his wife, no longer was a son to his mother, no longer was a brother to his brothers and his sisters. But then I recognized and I realized that the Creator had something different in mind, and he kept me here for a reason. And ever since that day in 2017 up to today, right now, you know the reason why I think he kept me here? Well, that's easy. I think he kept me here because he needed me to give a message to you. That's my assignment. You see, we're not here at this moment in time by accident. You're not watching me and I'm not speaking to you by accident. This is something that was divinely created. You know, over 300,000 people have died from COVID in 2020 in the United States alone. But you're still here. You're not one of those 300,000. And just like I'm here for a reason, I truly believe that you are here for a reason too. So as we come to number 7 of Get Up and Stand Up, it's more important than ever that you understand why it's important for you to get up and stand up. But before we talk about why it's important for you to get up and stand up, I just want you to let that story marinate for a while. That may not have been your story, and thank God it hasn't. And maybe you haven't had any NDEs, near-death experiences. Up to 52 years before then, I hadn't either. But the one thing my grandma used to say to me is that, you know what? If you haven't had it yet, just keep on living. Because something's going to come your way. Something's going to come your way that's going to stop you. Something's going to come your way that's going to try to stop you in your tracks, to change your direction. Something's going to come in your way that's going to try to keep you down when you were created to stand up and be noticed. When you were created to get up and make a difference. When you were assigned a reason to be here. But many times we are stopped and we don't find that reason because we're stuck just existing instead of living. Now, you know what I'm talking about when I say existing instead of living. Think about it. Who's the person, and you don't have to raise your hand, but just think about it. Are you the person that has your alarm clock set for maybe 6:30 tomorrow morning because you got to get up and go to work? And are you the person who knows the train schedule or the bus schedule, or you know what time you have to be in your car and in traffic because you've got to go to work? Yes, even in COVID, there are people who are still physically going to jobs. And if you're not physically going to a job, you still got to set that alarm clock so that you can roll out of your bed and into your chair and onto your screen. But you do that. You get up, you go to work, you come home, you eat dinner, you go to sleep, you get up, you go to work, you come home, you go to sleep. You see where I'm going with this. You're not living, you're just merely existing. And watch this, you're existing on someone else's schedule instead of living on your own terms. Yeah, that was me for many years. And I think that's why I never had a near-death experience, because I was too busy existing and I never was taking the risk to live. Now, let me tell you this. If there was a law about existing versus living and there would be a crime, then if I went in front of a judge right now, the judge would look down at me and say, Terrance Leftridge, you are convicted of first-degree crime of living an average lifestyle. Because that's what I did for most of the time, all the way up to 2017. And I dare say that somebody who's watching me now, whether you're watching live or whether you're going to catch this replay, the reason you're here right now is because you're guilty of that same crime. And the one thing that 2020 has done is exposed us on our ish. If I was Anthony, I'd say our shit, but I'll keep it PG. 2020 has exposed us for our ish, the stuff we haven't been doing, the stuff we said as excuses that we didn't have time to do, the stuff that we should have done that we didn't do, the stuff that we should have but we didn't have because we were merely existing and not living. Or maybe the other reason that you have been stopped and stuck up to this point is because that inner critic in your ear was saying that, hey, Michelle, you can't do that. Or, hey, Mariana, you're not supposed to have that. Or, hey, Jennifer, you definitely don't have what it takes to make a salsa that people are going to want to buy all over the world. Maybe that inner critic was keeping you stuck, making you feel like you weren't good enough, not worthy enough, not special enough. But 2020 now has shown people that when you are stuck with your back against the wall, you can either come out fighting or you can go out running. And thank God for Get Up Conference 2020, because we have shown you that you have the ability to continue to get up and fight instead of take flight. We have shown you through our stories and through some of the other speakers that have been on this broadcast that they have been able to turn opportunities out of obstacles. They have been able to overcome and do things that they never even thought about doing, except for the fact that 2020 put them in a situation where they had to do it or they found out they could do it. You know, I told you guys at the first conference in March that, I didn't cook at home. But as a result of being in that lockdown and not being able to go out and eat at restaurants, I blew the dust off my crock pot and learned how to make new recipes in the crock pot. Now, I'm going to tell you, I ain't done a whole lot more of them since the world opened back up. But at least I know now that I can do that if I need to. So let me ask you a question. What have you learned how to do in 2020 that now you can do in the future if you need to? Think about that. Think about the difference that this obstacle called COVID 2020 has allowed you to turn into an opportunity, hopefully that you can use in 2021, in 2022, in 2023 and beyond. But except for the fact that you had this obstacle into your life, you would have never known that you could do it. I tell you, after I had that life-changing moment in 2017, I decided that I was no longer going to waste time. I redoubled my efforts in my coaching practice. Why? Because even in 2017, I was coaching people. I was helping people get unstuck and become unstoppable. But I decided that I needed to do it for a different level because I didn't know how much longer my assignment was. But I recognized then, and I hope you recognize now, that if you are still here, if you are still breathing, you still have a purpose. If you are still here right now, there is still an assignment. There is somebody who you are assigned to work with. There is somebody you are assigned to help. There is somebody you are assigned to encourage by a word or a smile, like someone said in the comments. There is an assignment that you still are here to do. And it's time for you to get up and stand up and do your assignment. It's time for you to get up and recognize that nobody else can do it but you, because it's your assignment. And you are worthy of the assignment. You have the ability to complete the assignment, and your assignment is necessary for somebody else to complete their assignment. I'm gonna use Jennifer because Jennifer, she reached out. But guess what? Jennifer's assignment of creating that salsa, watch me now, may be the one meal that somebody has on a given day tomorrow. And that meal may be the energy that allows them to get up and speak one more time, or get up and write one more chapter of that future Nobel novel. That may be the one meal that gives them the energy to now go and be a blessing to somebody else, so that that person can be a blessing to someone else, and so on and so on and so on. And here's the tragedy, that if you don't get up and stand up and complete your assignment, the tragedy is that it not only will affect you, but it will affect the person that you were assigned to help. And I don't know about you, but the worst feeling I ever get is if I encounter someone that needs my help and I'm not able to help them. So think about it. Think about what's happened in your life as a result of this 2020. It may not even been COVID. Think about some of the other things that have happened in your life that you have now turned those obstacles into opportunities, or you see that you can turn those obstacles into opportunities, but you haven't done it yet. We gave you 6 conferences to build up your stamina. We gave you 6 conferences to build up your motivation. We gave you 6 conferences so that you could see that other ordinary people just like you are doing it each and every day. And now in conference number 7, we say to you, it's your turn. It's your time. It's your go season. It is your time to get up and to stand up and to go walk in your purpose, knowing that you are needed and you are necessary. And here's the final thought that I want to say to you. You, because you are from the Creator, have the ability to not be stopped. And you have the ability to get up. And if you can't physically get up with your limbs, you can get up with your mind. If you don't have the ability to walk, you can crawl. If you can run, you can run. If you can drive, you can drive. If you can fly, you can fly. But whatever it takes, however you have to do it, by any means necessary, it is your time to get up, stand up, and be the change that we all need you to be. Because teamwork makes the dream work. And there is no I in team, but there is a me. So I want you to do this as soon as we get off this conference. I want you to go find a mirror somewhere in your house, somewhere where you live. And I want you to look in the mirror. And here's the question I want you to ask yourself. What is it about me that can make a difference in the rest of the world? What is it about me that can be the change to someone in my house, or someone on my block, someone in my city, or even someone I don't even know? What has the Creator placed in me that is my assignment to share as a gift, like Jennifer did with her salsa, with the rest of the world? If you can answer those questions, then you will know what your ability is. And as I always say, you have the ability to not be stopped. And that's what makes you unstoppable. So get up, stand up, and go be unstoppable, because we're looking for you to do that for us. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you all. Have a happy holidays. Stay safe. wear your mask, social distance, but don't be afraid to distance yourself from your assignment. Thank you.
Woo! Good stuff right there, T.
It was that. It was all that and a bag of chips.
All that and a bag of popcorn. I love that. And I remember I've heard that story, I think, from you one time. Through all this, it's funny. We have all these different things we talk about, and then we come back to center of what our why is, what our true story is. And I forgot until you brought it up, how you started re-pushing yourself and getting back engaged. So, as always,
thank you.
Great job.
And I hope it resonated with the people out there. Hopefully you are ready to finally get up if you haven't already. And if you have gotten up, continue to stand up and recognize that we here at the Get Up Summit, we're here as your accountability partners to hold you up as you continue to stand up, because we know even when you decide to get up, something's going to try to come your way to knock you down. And you're going to need accountability partners like Jeff and like Anthony and like me and like other people, even in the feed that you're probably meeting for the first time today. Reach out to somebody you don't know and form an alliance, because again, we're better together, and together everyone achieves more. And that's the acronym for team.
That was on our high school football shirts back, 87 decades ago when I played high school football.
You still look like a high school senior now. I think you could still throw the rock.
I can throw the pigskin around a little bit, but what people don't realize is I was actually an offensive lineman when I was in high school. I was a little slower, a little longer. I'm missing popcorn in my mouth. All right, so you got a lot of great comments, by the way. Let's see. A lot of it was talking about purpose. Michelle Lundegreen said, "Lord, help me find my purpose and help others as well as myself." Let's see. Pray on it. Took me a while, and I found mine and living my best life. This is also Maria was our guest on Changemakers this last week. Jeff was reminding everybody it's the crime of living an average life that is a crime. Find it. Absolutely. Find your passion. Find your motivation.
Yes.
If you remember right, I had one of my talks on one of the events was talking about the average or the coma of average.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Someone wants to walk in their purpose by opening an OnlyFans page. Do you, Joanna? Do you?
Hey, no judgment here. She's just been probably hearing Cash talk so much about it, which I still don't know if it's a real thing. I don't know. I don't know if he really has a page. I don't know if Blake does either. Who knows? Anyway, TMI. All right. Michelle also said that you brought tears to her eyes. Apparently, do I have a lag again? I don't know.
No, we hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Let's see. And then Nikki said, we're going to change the world. And that means all of us as a group. So that's amazing. Last but not least, Marilyn Cricket Whipple, Terrance, your words have been instrumental in making me feel worthy and capable. So there you go, my friend.
Thank you, Marilyn. I'm glad we were able to make a difference. And I think this really highlights why we did and why Jeff did what he did. In addition to the 7 broadcasts that we had, Jeff, you've had over, in my estimate, over 30 to 40 different speakers throughout this time. That sound about right?
More than that.
More than that. And here's the one thing about that. What I said may not resonate with you. What Anthony said may not have resonated with you. But I trust and believe that we brought on somebody over these 7 broadcasts that touched you in a way that neither one of us could. And that's important because, you may not want to be coached by me. That's fine. I may not be the one for you, but Jeff may be. Jeff may not be the one for you, but Anthony and his authenticity and his great mustache, he might be the one. You never know.
That's not a mustache. That's a porn stash.
As Anthony said, no judgment here.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Right. But each one of us has looked in the mirror and we've asked ourselves the question that I had you ask yourself. What is it about me that I can give as a gift to the rest of the world? And we hope, as we are extending our gifts to you, that you will take advantage of the gift that we're giving to continue to motivate yourself, find your assignment, be the change that you were meant to be, and ultimately start making every second count in your life.
It's a good looking hat, Jeff.
I know.
We just have a couple questions. And then if we have any questions for ourselves, let's do it. I know there was one direct one to Jeff. My brother was in a car accident some time ago, lost body temperature of his limbs on one side. Did this happen to you?
I'm not sure what you mean by body temperature to the limbs, but like my arms were up like this for a long time, and I had what they call drop foot, which your feet are down like this, and it's really hard to walk when your feet are sticking straight out. So, yeah, sure. But like I said, I don't know what you mean by body temperature to his
I'm assuming it was probably having to do with circulation, which is a typical event in case of major trauma like that, where you'll lose blood flow in those areas. And I know that was probably also why they were positioning Jeff the way they were.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Other question. First off, let's just throw this up there because we got to love a couple compliments. First time Get Up Conference watcher, but Christina loved it. Great job, Jeff.
Hey,
Christina. All right. Let's see. So I had another one.
Yeah.
Before we get to Maryland's, what do we tell our youth on how to stay focused and stay positive?
That's really not hard, because this book that I keep talking about was really designed for students 11 through 19 years of age, but it will work for anyone. And you can even ask Anthony. He has read this, and I really appreciate that. But you can tell them, or you can get them a copy of my book. And again, you can get my book at www.jeffmarconettejr jeffmarconettejr.com/journal.
I'll put it up real quick.
All right,
there it is. Yeah, and I'll really quick piggyback on that. Essentially, journaling is a phenomenal thing to do, and Jeff has a great one. We've had another guest that had a journal. There's two different levels. There's two. There's a million different levels of journaling, and in a year like this, being able to reflect on gratitude, what every second is, that's whether you have a journal or not, find a way to express it, and really a journal is the best way to do it. So for the youth, I think we over time have gotten better at allowing them to express themselves and teach them the importance of emotions and emoting and understanding what's going on in their lives and being able to be in mode of gratitude or in a place of gratitude. So making sure they see the positives, I think, is a huge way for them to allow to continue to get up and move on to everyday life and the struggles they're going to face. And also letting them know that the world is not perfect. I think that's a big thing that we have to realize is we can't live in a padded room our whole life. And when things get hard, it's pushing them forward in it instead of allowing them to sink back. We have to almost be a wartime conciliary. If you've ever watched Godfather, it's that person that's there to motivate you past the muck and the crap and the shit. And I think that's honestly a very key. We're at a key time for that. Whether it's adults or youth, is to make sure that you're preparing them for tough times. Because in those tough times, teach them about failure and the positivity in failure and risk taking, and that perfection is a fake. Is false. Perfection is a unattainable goal that means nothing in the end, but the journey is what means the most. So continuing to impress upon those messages, and as a group, hopefully eventually they'll start seeing the stuff that we put out on Be the Change Network, and they'll start being able to be a part of it. We'll be able to do youth events and stuff like that. So that's my thoughts.
Absolutely. And, Jeff and Anthony are closer to the 11 to 19 age group than I am. But one thing I do know, two things I know, is that our youth, they're relentless and they're resilient. I was brought up in an age where parents and adults tried to keep things away from kids. They tried to shelter them in such a way. But, as I see our youth today, they are relentless in their pursuit of knowledge and understanding. And as 2020 has showed us, with schools closing down and kids not being able to graduate, not being able to go to prom, not being able to play sports, they are still resilient, and you can still find kids that graduated with 4.0 grade point averages virtually. You can still find teams that won championships, even though they only played 5 games instead of their 12. You can still find people that have gotten scholarships to virtually go to college now because they didn't let a setback from being inside the classroom, from stopping the classroom, to get inside of them. So if we just recognize that our kids are more relentless and more resilient than we give them credit for, then we can start having those open, honest, authentic conversations with them and employing some of the things that Anthony said, letting them know that the world isn't fair. The world isn't everything we would hope it would be yet, but our children, they're the future, and they can be the change that we need them to be.
100%. I'm going to go ahead and for Joanna, she wanted to put Jeff's book in the comments. So I'm going to do that real quick. I know Jeff
already did.
You did it on Facebook. She's watching on the tube of you.
Oh,
so I'm going to go ahead and throw it out. No, you're all good. What else was out there? There was one other question from Marilyn. I remember seeing it. She said she is, let's see, about how do we handle the instances where we get stuck in a rut and have lost focus?
Jeff said earlier, where your focus goes, your energy flows. And many times we're stopped because we're focusing on the wrong thing. As I coach my clients, many of them come to me looking for the right answers, but then I tell them, you're probably asking the wrong questions. Because if you ask the right question, then you'll always get the right answer from the universe. So stop focusing on what you don't have. Stop focusing on what you're not able to do yet, because that 3-letter word is so powerful. And start really honing in on the skills that you already have. Start utilizing the tools you already have in your proverbial toolbox, and focus on what you can do right now. There was a phrase that said, fake it till you make it. I'm not going to say fake it till you make it. I'm going to say use what you got to get what you want. And when you start utilizing everything that you already have, the universe will open up more, because they'll see what you were able to do with what they already gave you.
Yeah. Jeff, you got anything on that one?
No.
Yeah. No, you're good. I actually did a whole thing on getting unstuck, and I know Terrance talked about getting unstuck. Exactly what he said is great. I'm also a big believer in changing things up. So he talked about following the positive signs, essentially stay positive ultimately, and also make sure you're asking the right questions. If you really, I think one of the biggest things you can do is to take a day, take a beat, change things. Clean your car. You're going to be in your car every day, and all of a sudden you've been getting in a dirty car over and over again. Change that up. Rearrange your apartment, house. Do something where you're completely changing the paradigm of your life. Like people used to joke and different things in different sports, like they'd, switch a batting glove, or they'd use a different this. And it's a mind shift. You're shifting your mind. So it's a great idea. It's a trigger, and it forces you. I used to run marathons, and they talk about the wall at mile 20 to 23. And a lot of people at that point, when the voices in their head are like essentially telling them to stop, there's only so much motivation you can give yourself. So change things up. People would actually change shirts. They would do something. They'd have somebody there that would change, like whatever it might be. A lot of times it was shirts or hats. And it would literally switch that focus back on creating something new. And that's the best way to look at it. And again, like Terrance said, staying positive. And like Jeff always says, make every second count. No matter what, if you're trying, something is going to proceed forward. It's going to get better someplace.
Absolutely. And one more thing, maybe, and this may not be everybody, but it may be you who are listening right now. Maybe you're stuck in a rut because you're doing what you shouldn't be doing. And I say that because, again, we were brought up with a certain way of doing things. You grow up, you go to school, you get a job, you stay at that job for 30 years till you get your gold watch, you retire, and you go off into infamy. But maybe you're stuck in a rut because that's not the lane you're supposed to be in. So change your lane. Figure out what it is that you're passionate about. Figure out what it is that literally you would do if nobody gave you a dime to do it, and then start focusing on how you can do that and not only get your dimes, but get your quarters, get your dollars, get your coins up. But many times we get stuck because we're looking to, your name is Terrance and you're trying to live Anthony's life, but Anthony's life was created for Anthony. You need to find the life that was created for you.
100%. Could not agree more. And again, this is another great comment. It's not going to be easy. It never is.
Never.
Nothing worth working for is ever easy. So, Maria, well said.
Do you think it's easy being on this screen with Jeff and Anthony 7 times in the same year?
Well, you're sitting in the chair. It's not that hard for you.
Oh, that's a great joke, I think, to end on. That's so good. Don't be afraid of change. I think that's another great one from Belinda. So another great comment. Keep an open mind. There are many failures. Learn from them, move on, and at last, pray on it. Jennifer, love each of you all. Thank you for the gift you both gave me. I am forever grateful, and I cannot wait for this salsa. And we'll be promoting it on BetheChange as long as it's as delicious as these two gentlemen say it is, which I'm sure it will be. And maybe, I don't know, we should talk. I'll see how good it is. We'll see if we can, if there's some way we can work together. They said it's the best. They messaged me like, have you tried the salsa? And I'm like, I haven't gotten it yet, Jennifer. Anyways, he keeps it at his desk, apparently. So,
yeah. Mine's in my refrigerator.
All right. So as we wrap this up, hey, Jeff, you want to... So 7 times. 7 times this year, you have blessed the world with your gift of making every second count. What's some of your personal takeaways from the first time you were given this assignment to now as we end here?
Well, I really like the way John Bull came on and he spoke and he talked about the things that life favors some people with that other people don't have. And that's something that we need to realize in this country, that we are so freaking lucky to live here and not in Africa or not in any other third world country where we have internet service that we can actually use and it stays going and it doesn't cut out, where we have electricity, where we have running water, where we have toilets that flush and not have sewage running down the streets. It's the things that other people have shown on the show that they have gone through in their life. That, hey, if they can do that and I can do what I've done, then anybody else out there can do anything in the world. They just have to put their mind to it and get up and go for it. Just like Jennifer did with her salsa company. Because it works when you work it.
Love it. Great.
I think that's a great way to end. Terrance, you got any last words?
No, I actually was going to throw it over to you to see what your takeaways were from these 7 7 episodes where you were not only our speaker, but you were our super producer of all these.
My very simple thoughts are that we have managed to cultivate a great list of speakers. Jeff has managed to, watching his evolution has been probably on top of the impact we're able to leave, but finding somebody like Jeff that can create those ripple effects that you talk about, Terrance, that have that impact, and being able to can continue to push his talent and push his message is huge. So I want to thank Jeff, really, ultimately. That's been my biggest takeaway, is seeing the growth in Jeff and then the impact we've left on the audience. And then, Terrance, your continued thirst for education and willingness to mold with all the speakers and roll with the punches. You also, too, are one of the most phenomenal people I've ever worked with. So thankfulness in this year, ultimately. That's the best way that I can wrap up all 7 of these.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. You know, gratefulness and thankfulness was probably something that I personally was taking for granted in my own life. But, you know, I see that it was something that the world universal was taking for granted too. So as we complete this year of reset, refocus, and renewal, I hope that people take a little bit of gratitude and thankfulness on into 2021 and remember that, you know, this too, we're not completely out of the woods yet, but there's light at the end of that proverbial tunnel. And it's usually the hardest before you cross that line. So remember to not give up now when you're so close to the finish line. Remember to not start taking things for granted because you see some things at the end of that tunnel. Continue to work on yourself, continue to work on your assignment, continue to push, continue to get up, stand up, and never give up each and every day until you reach your goal. And then that will be the best takeaway that I could ever receive, is to see you guys shine and live your life on the next level. So I thank you for the privilege, Jeff, of being around for these. And I'm looking forward to more in 2021.
Yeah, well, I promise you one thing. There will be more in 2021 because this has been too powerful, too impactful to the world, to the people around the world, that I'm not going to let this go. I'm not just going to lay down.
We've only just begun. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for being a part of Get Up and Stay Up, our final number 7 of the year, as you see right here. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure if you have to look for, you got Jeff Marconette's information right there. Terrance Leftridge, look him up just like that. Yes, Jeff.
I also want to say thank you to the people that have helped us out, and Anytime Fitness and tailor-made solutions. I just want to say thank you to them. So, all right, that's
Absolutely. Yes. Make sure you guys reach out to Jeff Marconette Jr. at jeffmarconettejr.com. Make sure you reach out to Anthony at BetheChange USA on Facebook and on YouTube, all social media. You can find him. And hey, I have a new and improved website coming out January. Just continue to go to unstoppablecoaching.com. And we are going to continue to be looking out for you, being your cheerleaders, and helping you get up and stand up in 2021.
Woo! 2021, here we come. Happy New Year, Nikki.